New videos every day.
If you actually look at the science, the studies tend to show that the diet sodas make things worse.
Oh, dear.
And the reason is that a lot, if not all, the artificial sweeteners actually give people more stimulation than, say, regular sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is...
Life, wisdom. Do you drink diet sodas? If you do, leave a comment and let me know how many diet sodas you drink per week, and if you think that they're helping you lose weight. Dr. Belanzi, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
What are your thoughts on diet sodas? Are they a healthier choice than the, normal brand, the non-diet version of the soda? And are they going to help people lose weight?
There's a lot of controversy on that, but if you actually look at the science, the studies tend to show that the diet sodas make things worse.
Oh, dear.
And the reason is that a lot, if not all, the artificial sweeteners actually give people more stimulation than, say, regular sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, they may not be gaining as many calories in the soda itself, but then they go eat an entire cheesecake or something,
Mm-hmm.
or they eat more fries or whatever.
Right.
It actually increases the hunger. And so if you look at people's success at losing weight, it's not there.
Right.
And then you've got to consider the fact that most of the chemical sweeteners are chemicals that are not going to be causing positive things in the body. So people are harmed by them. In fact, diet foods in general, even the sugar alcohols, if you look at some of the side effects, the problem is that you're going to have digestive upset, if nothing else. And you've got things to try to block absorption of sugar and things like that too. So all the things that they're trying to do to food so that you can have your food and have your cake and eat it too, I guess. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't seem to work very well, no matter how you try to approach it. Now, you could make a case for something like wheat amylase starch or some of these things that actually block some of the absorption of carbohydrates. But as far as most of the things they add to diet sodas, you might actually be better off just drinking the regular soda.
Wow.
Ideally, how about some water? But,
right, right. And because I think that's interesting, because I think there's a lot of people out there who, really feel like they're doing something really good for themselves by opting for the diet version, by getting the reduced sugar version or the no sugar version or whatever. But you're right. There's a lot of research now that's actually indicating, well, these things actually don't help you lose weight. Some of them actually have toxic effects on the body. And as you mentioned, they actually will make you hungrier or make you crave
They'll
sugar more.
Stimulate more craving, So,
wow.
So it's not really solving any of the problems.
Mm-hmm.
And there, I won't mention the company, but I don't know if you heard, there's actually a soda company that put fiber in their drink. And they advertised it as a weight loss supplement. Because research on fiber shows that it does, in fact, help with weight loss. Mm-hmm. And fiber does a lot of things. If you eat more fiber, it'll actually help you not only feel more full, but clean up the digestive tract and absorb sugars. I mean, there's a lot of good things. We use fiber supplements even for diabetes. But putting a little bit in a drink and then saying that it's going to help your weight loss, my point is be careful what you believe.
Right, right.
Because, in fact, those sodas did not work.
Right.
But they were banking on the interest or the conclusions of the studies on fiber itself. It just wasn't enough in the drink really to make any difference.
Right. And we've talked a lot about sodas on Psyche Truth and how acidic they are, which I think when you actually look at the pH scale,
they actually create acid,
the diet sodas are actually more acidic than, acid rain. It's actually the most acidic thing that we would ever voluntarily consume. And the only reason we consume it is because it has all of these artificial colors and flavors and sugar and addictive chemicals like caffeine. Another funny thing about diet soda drinks is that oftentimes they will contain more caffeine than the regular one. So people actually get more addicted to it. And of course, nobody lists caffeine content on their food label. It's not required. So you wouldn't know that by looking at the label. You would only be able to find that out if you actually looked up the research or watched our video that discusses caffeine content in soda drinks, for instance. But I think that's a really important consideration. So we're not only talking about the artificial sweeteners that are being used in place of the sugar, but all of the other chemicals and colors and flavors that are contained in those drinks The brominated vegetable oil, for instance,
right.
which is banned in several countries, is still, you can actually still see it on the back of a Mountain Dew. You can still see that they're still using that chemical, and they know that there are negative health effects associated with it.
Right. Well, just to put that point across, I was reading an article in a gastroenterology GI journal, about the gut function, and it's a journal published by researchers for gastroenterologists, and they were talking about how to clear obstructions in the lower intestine. What are we going to use? They're trying to come up with different medications and everything, and they actually were studying colas, sodas, and they found that one of the most effective things that they could use was a soda. They just had to be careful of actual tissue damage, but the soda actually cleared the obstruction, whether it was food that you had eaten or even scar tissue and such. They were actually using it therapeutically to
wow.
Almost in some of the cases they were studying, it was almost like a little microsurgery.
Right. And, when we talking about the acidity of sodas and what it does to your teeth and the enamel of your teeth, we're talking about something that I think there's actually videos on YouTube of, people using soda drinks to like get the rust off of things or to, there's like all of these different uses, and you start to go, man, I don't know if I want to, I don't know if I really want to drink that after seeing what it does to, what do you think it's going to do to your insides?
Consider people that don't drink a cup or a can, they drink a liter. And there are people,
big gulp or
the supersized whatever, and it's much more than people used to drink. The little nostalgic Cokes are very small. What are they, 8 or 10 ounces?
Yeah.
And then you go see what people are drinking, say in a fast food place or even at home, and it's an entire case worth.
Exactly. And of course the high fructose corn syrup. Now oftentimes in the diet drinks they actually won't include the high fructose corn syrup. They'll include the aspartame or artificial sweetener or whatever. But I actually have seen diet soda drinks that still contain high fructose corn syrup in them as well.
But it's less.
A little bit less of the high fructose corn syrup. So this kind of maybe poses another question. So when we're thinking about weight loss, people are thinking in terms of calories. So they see something that's low calorie or no calorie. I know there's a Coca-Cola Coke Zero.
Yeah.
Is that actually something that's going to help to lose weight if people are really focusing on, trying to have something that says 0 calories on it? Will that help with weight loss?
As I said in the studies, probably not, because they're putting something in there to give you this sweet sensation. You're stimulating things, and it tends to overdo it, and then you'll overeat other things. And you've got to be careful either way what you drink. If you chemically induce more hunger, you're going to eat more. And when we do weight loss, we really stop talking so much about calories, and we talk more about getting the body again to function better. And that seems to be the better plan. I really don't think that either way, soda is going to be healthy for you. I don't even like fruit juices. Whole fruit, fine. Eat a piece of fruit, digest it, take in a little bit of sugar. But it's unbelievable how much sugar you can take in a drink.
Certainly.
So whether it's a fruit juice or a soda, or if it's a bunch of chemicals, it's probably too much. It's an effective delivery system. So better to digest food normally and take in things at the rate your body can handle.
So what about people with diabetes, for instance? Are low calorie or no sugar diet drinks, is that something that's safe for diabetics?
I'd say absolutely not. If I've gotten to the point where I no longer can control my blood sugar levels, I'm diabetic, in other words, you really have no business using sodas of any kind, whether it's artificial sweeteners or sugar. You're to a point where you have to buckle down and really start paying attention, because any form of excess sugar is going to be doing damage to you, and that's diabetes. If I can't control my sugar, I have to be very careful what forms I take it in. And again, if I'm taking the artificial chemicals, they can stimulate me to overdo it anyway, or do damage that's going to make the situation much worse. I don't think it's a good plan at all. I would caution diabetics to stay away from fruit juices, sodas, all that kind of stuff.
And the same would go for, I guess, pre-diabetics or in terms of wanting to prevent diabetes.
Right. And depending on how well your sugar control is now, maybe you can stand a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, a diabetic has no business because they've already lost control.
Right.
Eating things that are going to make the situation that much worse.
Right.
So, that's somebody who needs to be paying a little closer attention. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's a situation that now has to be addressed.
Certainly, they can't feel like, oh, I'm diabetic now, so I got to switch to Diet Coke.
The problem is conventional medicine many times will allow them that,
Mm-hmm.
basically telling them that they can do whatever they want, and it will just increase your units of insulin. To me, that's not a good plan.
Right. I feel like I remember reading that, when we're looking at the artificial sweeteners, actually they kind of confuse our blood sugar metabolism
Mm-hmm.
system. So the insulin is released, but then there's actually no sugar there. Is that true? Can you maybe kind of explain in terms of the blood sugar reaction to to having an artificial sweetener?
Well, we know that these things will actually stimulate insulin and other. There's going to be a response, and so if you're putting out insulin and leptin and ghrelin and all these things that would have controlled your appetite, you've suddenly changed the situation,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to have a loss of control. You're going to have different moods and emotions even. So you really set up something that's going to be much harder to deal with than if you were to consume some actual food.
Right. So clearly anybody who's drinking diet sodas is trying to diet, is trying to lose weight.
The intention might be there, but...
The intention might be there. So maybe can you let us know what would be, perhaps a safe thing to replace it with, something that actually is going to help people lose the weight that they're trying to lose?
I would much rather... Some people just can't stand water. So we've got to deal with
What
it.
did water ever do to you?
Yeah. So there are some better things you can do. There are so many great products now made for athletes. So you don't want to necessarily go to the market and pick up the cheapest thing you can find, but there are some very good electrolyte drinks. There's a company called, now I forgot the name of the company, but they make a product called Emergency.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually take it by the packet and flavor your water with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't want to use some of the water flavorings that are just a bunch of chemicals,
Right.
but if it has a few nutrients and electrolytes and maybe some C, whatever, then you're actually going to get some benefit and you get some taste as well.
Right.
That to me is a much better plan than popping a top on something that's just
Right.
all chemistry.
And what about, like carbonated water or sparkling water? Because a lot of people, they get
Sure.
real
Yeah.
hooked on that.
We get
kind
the
of
stimulation
fizzy
from that.
thing.
I think mineral waters are fine. You actually get a few electrolytes out of it. You could possibly overdo sodium and things like that, but it's such a small amount, you're probably fine with that.
Right.
I would probably actually choose a mineral water over, say, a carbonated beverage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have all the added stuff, it's going to be much safer.
Right. And certainly if we're saving ourselves the phosphoric acid, the brominated vegetable oil, all these other things,
Exactly,
then
yeah.
just that alone is going to be a much improvement.
Right.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to doing future videos with you.
It's good. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. You as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you will leave your comment and let me know if you drink diet sodas, and if you do, how many diet sodas do you drink per week? I'm Psyche Truth correspondent Karina Rachel. I want to thank you for watching. I want to invite you to subscribe to the Psyche Truth channel, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.